Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Going Rogue Podcast. Before we get into it, we're going to take a second and thank some of the companies and the people that make this whole thing possible. Sport Kilt is now officially a sponsor for the Going Rogue Podcast, as well as our upcoming games. If you're going to compete with us, or if you just love the podcast and want to help support us, use code ROGUE24 at checkout at sportkilt.com. We all need a good kilt, and Sport Kilt does it the best for what we do. So please help us, help them. Go get yourself a new kilt or maybe some accessories and use code ROGUE24 at checkout. That's ROGUE24. Save yourself some cash. HeavyAthlete.com is a cross-compatible database, meaning you can link all of your historical scores from NASGA to your Heavy Athlete profile, regardless of how your name was ever entered. All of your new scores will automatically update into NASGA going forward as well. We've created a pro women and a lightweight women's class, meaning you can finally see where you rank in your actual class. It's receiving updates all the time and is free to use for athletes and ADs. For more information, go listen to the One Turn NASGA No More, or go to HeavyAthlete.com. The Woodridge Farm Highland Games is being hosted by yours truly at Woodridge Farm Brewery in Livingston, Virginia. You can expect a full festival with Celtic bands, bagpipers, vendors. There will be lunch, t-shirts, and awards provided for registered athletes. We'll be offering all classes and throwing all 9 events. If you have any questions, shoot us a direct message, and signups are live right now on HeavyAthlete.com. The Barn Gym. If you guys are anywhere near Caroline County, Virginia, or Ruth or Glenn, or feel like making a drive and find yourself somewhere near the 95 Route 1 corridor in the northern part of Central Virginia, stop on by and check out the Barn Gym. It is the only 24-hour strength facility in that area. It has everything you need from Highland Games to strongman to powerlifting to grip sports or just general fitness. You can find them at thebarngymva.com, on Instagram at thebarngymva, a period between every word, or you can email them at ltgthebarngym@gmail.com. That's L as in Lincoln, T as in Tom, G as in George, thebarngym@gmail.com. Check them out. Oh, if you haven't been kicked out of a pool, then you haven't actually been to a Highland game. I think that's kind of a... Nick missed out on that actually for his first game.
Really?
You didn't, yeah.
Aww.
No one went to the pool afterward. No one, got asked to leave. So... My favorites are always when you come back, if you go to dinner with a different group of people and you come back and the cops are at the hotel and you're like, fuck. You need to put all the block rooms together. Let us...
Yeah.
Put all the animals on one spot.
Absolutely. And then just put the 80 or something on the end. And
put him near the elevator to shoo all the drunk people back to their room at a certain point.
Absolutely.
Poor Josh, I don't think, would have liked that very much. All right, so it's the day following No Fame's home game. By the way, I have no planned structure for any of this.
I didn't think you did.
No. There's I'm not much of a planned guy. So, but how had you thrown out here before? Had you come and done any of Josh's games?
Not Josh's games, but before they were kind of Josh's games, because I think Maine is his games, right? And I did Maine in 2019.
Okay.
And the only other time I've been really out in, if you want to consider it, this area would have been, right, well, I'm going to be very broad and people are going to get pissed off at me, but this area,
That's
I
my whole thing. It's fine.
I was in Western Buffalo and for Masters Worlds, and then I was in, Moncton, Canada for Masters Worlds again, so I've thrown in this general area.
The region.
Yeah, region, yeah.
Keep it geographical. All right. So have you, always been in Cali? Born, raised?
Yes.
Forever?
Yes. I am a California tree hugger, which is an interesting place to be in the sport.
Dude, the West Coast is kind of nuts. I mean, y'all have a real pocket of talented people out there.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know why half of them don't know how to throw sheaf, but, other than that, they're doing great. I can't say shit. I didn't throw sheaf worth a damn yesterday anyway, but...
We got some people. We have our moments.
There's little flashes.
I'm gonna rope in someone like I don't know. I'm Marissa. I'm gonna include her in the West Coast. She's tossing some 30-foot bombs.
That's fair.
I got I'm gonna rope in Kyle Lilly too, even though Kyle can pretty much claim any part of the country.
Yeah, and any event.
Well, yeah, any event, any region. I mean, he was like, I believe he's like just a track field coach, but I'm not sure if he was just like a full on like recruiter for colleges or what he was doing. But I know he spent some time in Maine. When I met him, I think he was in Sacramento, or maybe just before he was in Sacramento, and then he's in Colorado State now, or Colorado Springs, working for the Air Force Academy. But he jumps all over the place, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, he's telling me he's going to threaten our 33-foot field record next weekend in San Diego. So.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. We got some guys that can throw. We got some.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems like the South, I think, really likes that event.
Yeah, I'll hang on to that as long as I can. We don't have much, but we like sheep. So.
Wicked humidity and
yeah, mosquitoes. We got it all. If you're looking for somewhere you can still possibly contract a bug-borne pathogen, we're your place.
Absolutely.
So, I was totally bad at this too. If everybody can't tell that I'm incredibly sleep exhausted. So you're recently minted president of SAAA, right?
Yeah.
Or semi-recently. I guess it's probably been the better part of a year now.
It feels like 10.
Man, why don't more people do that? That's crazy.
I asked that. I mean, like on a grand scale, I'm always wondering, why do people want to be president of the United States? It's the worst job in the world. Yeah. And in Highland Games, it's like you take a position in leadership and running events. Man, it's hard to be an athlete after that. It's hard to really enjoy it the way we hopefully all did once we got into it. But I think at my age, I felt the need to, take some ownership of stuff and help those that are going to come after me to have the same experience that I've had.
Okay.
The sport's been really good to me. I've had awesome times, met awesome people, gone all over the damn world. I want that for other people.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, it's I don't know. For some people, it's a couple of years of their life. For other people, it's a couple decades of their life.
And it sounds like getting you and Jay involved in the management of that was something positive for the athletes. I think, without having any firsthand experience, it just seemed like it was a good move to put a couple people.
So I got involved in the politics side of Highland Games.
There's politics in the Highland Games? No.
You imagine?
That's crazy.
That's crazy talk. Honestly, I don't remember how many years it's been now. But it was January 1st of some year. I don't know. 7.
Pick one. No one's fact checking this. Yeah.
Cool. 1944.
Okay.
And I my phone is blowing up on January 1st. And there's some group chat on Facebook Messenger, and they're like, congratulations, and I'm like, huh? What the fuck is this? And I'm looking at the names, and I'm like, okay, I kind of think I know these people. I think they have something to do with Highland Games. But what are you congratulating me for? And they're like, congratulations, Sean, congratulations, Jesse, and some other folks, and I'm like, I know Jesse, and I call him Jesse, and what are they congratulating us for? I don't fucking know. And so I tell them, like, hey guys, I think you got the wrong Sean. I'm gonna just go ahead and like cut myself out of this. They're like, no, we got the right Sean.
Don't even say anything. Just Sean's removed himself from group chat. Just
I should have. Yeah. That would have. Oh my god! If I would have did that move, if I could have just, my life would be so much different. That's one of those turning points in life. But somebody had nominated me to be elected as a board member at large for the SAAA board without ever notifying me.
That's good.
Yeah.
You want to have happen.
And they had a policy at the time that you could do that, and you didn't actually have to notify the person. So the organization was aware that Sean Smith was nominated, and they went ahead and threw my name in a ballot, and people voted on it. And I guess they didn't really care to hear from the candidate, because the candidate didn't even know what was happening. And January 1st, 1944, I I was elected to the board, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what they even did. I mean, and
we have a board.
Well, you know, like every games is different, but like how, and you know, fast forward as many years as I've been doing it now. I was a board member at large for a couple of years, and I was vice president for 4, and now this is my first year as president. But, like, how does the sausage get made? Like, who fucking creates all this equipment, these relationships? Who, you know, supplies and then treats and cares for these cabers? Who makes sure that the weights are X number of inches high, you know, weigh what they need to weigh for world records? Who does all that? Like, for years, I won't say years and years, but for the first several years of my time in this sport, I didn't know, and I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'm paying my fee. I'm going to show up. I'm going to throw, and I'm going to get out. And I'm going to hang out with my friends. We're going to travel up, and that's all I cared about. And and because of that, I fully understand. There's so many people that come to games and will forever that have that mentality. They just like, oh, this is just a thing somebody is putting together. They're probably paid well. No.
no, none of us are.
Yeah, by well, it's zero.
Yeah. If I cannot go in the red on a game, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. I mean,
it hasn't happened yet, but I imagine it's gonna feel really good.
I've had a couple, even just this year, where I think we made like $177. I'm like, yeah.
We're gonna go buy one new heavyweight, and then
yeah, and then, well, but then they're shipping them.
Maybe
we drive, and then okay, now I'm out.
Yeah, we'll pick it up when we go out to the game, and then we'll.
Yeah, and so I got involved in the political side like on accident in the way I was, and then I found out. I don't think I found out until maybe over a year later. I was talking to Beth Burton, and Beth is a long time. You know, she's a great on the female side of our sport. Also, somebody who kind of found the sport late in life, similar to myself, but you know, has been to many women's world championships. Is a Masters World Champion, I believe several times over, if I'm not mistaken. But nowadays, you would find her announcing at Pleasanton. Her and her partner Shannon, they basically ran all of the SHA events, which is like just north of Southern California, all the way up to Eureka, basically. And so they were running all these events. They were, she was still throwing. They're very highly respected, and she saw something in me. I don't know. I mean, she was drunk or something.
Yeah.
She's
got a poor taste.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone's allowed to make some mistakes, but yeah. And I found out that she's like, yeah, I was the one that nominated you. I was like, it was you. Like, you.
Do you want to send me a text and say, hey, by the way, I'm nominating you?
Yeah. So that was kind of my story to get in there, and really all of Highland Games for me has been like just unexpected, unplanned stuff that just kind of came together.
Yeah. I have a 12-year-old because of that. But yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Sometimes shit happens.
That's true. I mean, because like I didn't find the sport like I threw, you know, high school and college, you know, track and field like a lot of us did.
What'd you throw for that? Because like West Coast, I think some of y'all are a little different. Like we're only allowed to throw like shot and disc in Virginia. There's high school throws no hammer or jab, and even some of the colleges don't throw jab, and it gets
same. Yeah.
Okay.
It shot put and disc.
Okay.
I never when I got to college, I farted around with hammer, but we didn't have a hammer cage, and so I had like this a practice implement I was kind of play around with, and my school just didn't take it serious. In fact, I don't think they actually had a legit hammer cage until sometime in the last 5 years. So, I mean, I graduated.
And you're a master's thrower, and if they didn't have one when you were there...
I graduated in 1999, so if it was just 5 years ago, it was a long time after me. Yeah. But, shot put discus for a D3 college. You know, I thought I threw pretty well. I did a couple years unattached after that, and I actually had I threw from the spin, and I had so much tendonitis in my forearm that when I would press the shot to my neck, a lot of times, maybe the first quarter turn, the pain in my forearm was so shitty, I just dropped the shot. And it sucked. And I was trying to continue to do it because it was like my life forever. I remember like my dad taking us up to Big Bear, and so, there's some ski resorts and there's cabins and shit up. It's where anybody from Southern California is going to go to if they want to get to the snow or whatever, or fishing or whatever. And it would be snowing, and I would take my shot put and I would throw it, and it was like I couldn't throw enough. And when throwing in the snow,
you have no idea why you got tendonitis. That's
yeah. Seriously, do that for, I mean, I don't know, basically do that for a decade. And do it nonstop, and don't give yourself a break. And when you're on vacation in Big Bear, throw it in the snow.
Why would you go skiing when you can throw a shot put in the snow?
And it's so stupid because after the first throw, you immediately regret it, and because it hits the snow, it comes down at an angle, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta like stick my hand in there. Now my hand's freezing.
Now everything's numb. Hey, the tendonitis doesn't hurt if you can't feel it.
Maybe that's how I got by for some
years. You would have been done at 8 years if you hadn't just accidentally iced your hand every time.
Accidentally doing some good things there. That was smart. But no, so I did that. I had never heard of the Highland Games. I had no idea. 2 years of rough unattached stuff, dealing with tendonitis, and I was done. And I thought, got into the corporate world, got fat, kind of hit the gym here and there, but it was like, whatever. When I was 35, 36 years old, my college, again, a small D3 college, University of Laverne, in the very outskirts of LA County, they decided they're going to have an alumni meet. And I was like, well, that's cool. Let me see if I can do this. I figured I can throw discus, but I don't know. We'll see if this shot put thing works. And I was able to do both, and just got a little bit ready for it. And in my mind, just a little bit ready. Went to the alumni meet, and I was able to beat all of the current athletes they had on the team.
Nice.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's good for me or sad for them, or I don't know, whatever. But
a little both.
It was just a little spark of like who I used to be and what I was about, like my identity. And I was talking to my coach. He's still the same coach that I had years prior. And I was making some joke about like, hey man, like, the team looks awesome. You're going to do awesome in conference. And he's like, yeah, we don't have any throwers. And so I'm like, hey, if I had any eligibility, I'd be there for you. And he's like, Sean, you've got eligibility. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And why are you telling me now?
Yeah.
Like, I'm fucking 35, bro. Like, so why still me in grad school? And he's like, dude, you want me to look with to check with the NCAA and see if you can do this? And I'm like, sure. And so I end up having eligibility. At the time, I taught junior college business classes for 15 years. So I'm a business instructor. I run my own small little business from home, consulting business. I have to enroll in some classes, so I'm a college student. So college student, college professor. I need a place to throw, but I live like an hour and a half away from my college. And I go to nearby Cal State San Marcos in northern San Diego County. Head coach is a guy named Steve Scott. He's he is the greatest American miler ever. He is about 10 years older than me, so he was a legend from Upland, California, just north of where I grew up in Ontario. And he's run more sub-minute fours than anybody in American history. He's the fucking legend. He's just amazing. I go out and I reach out to him and I'm like, Steve, can I practice at your college? I'm doing this thing. I'm going to be an old man and, relive my glory days, whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's fucking cool. I just need one thing from you. Can you coach my athletes while you're here? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So now I'm a college fucking instructor. I'm a college coach. I'm a college student. I'm a college athlete. Running my own business. It was a hectic semester, but I got through it. I wish I could tell you it ended, I was a conference champ or some shit. I was all conference. I did well. I had a great time. I was able to actually kind of realize I was kind of a dick when I was an athlete back in the day, and like me and my coach, we bumped heads a lot. And like through this whole process, I think cooler heads prevailed. We were older and wiser, and we walked away just with a bunch of respect for each other. You know, got the hug it out moment, and it was awesome. So like a month or two later, one of the traditional age seniors is like, hey, there's a thing happening down your neck of the woods. It's in Vista, California. And Vista's in San Diego County. He's like, I think you're going to like it, man. He's like, I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, oh, don't even worry about it. He's like, go get yourself a kilt. And I'm like, okay, cool. Where the fuck do you buy a kilt?
Yeah.
You know, I
would love to. Haven't seen them at Costco.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I was going to make an Amazon joke, but
yeah.
I bet you Amazon probably has them.
Amazon has them. They'd suck, but they're there.
So I go down to this place that is like all things Scottish, and I get myself a formal 100% wool kilt that's like, you would use it for like a wedding or something. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like $100 for the weekend. And San Diego in late June, it's always super freaking hot. And it's probably right about 100 degrees. I've got my 100% wool kilt. I come out there, throw in novice. And, you know, the stones go well. They should. Everything else is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I had never touched this stuff before. I'd never practiced. I'd never seen it. I don't know, maybe I might have looked up some YouTube stuff on what is the Highland Games? And this is 2012, and I did it. I have a funny post that I'm happy it exists, but where I'm trying to throw the heavyweight, which at that time would have been a 42, for the first time ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, and like most youngsters, if I fall on my ass, I step on the trig, I eat shit. It was bad. But overall, I had a decent time. It wasn't great. Buddy calls me up a year later. Dude, that thing's happening again. Get yourself a kilt. I'm like, damn it. Okay, well, at least this time I
throw the old one away? Yeah, what?
Oh, well, I took it back, and I had it cleaned.
Okay.
And I found a sports kilt, so I'm like, okay, I'm a little better this time.
A little more comfortable. By the way, Sport Kilt, sponsor us. What are you doing?
Yeah, seriously. Honestly, sponsor the SAAA too, because
and sponsor all of us.
There's some issues there, and we can get into that in a little bit.
Anyway.
But I go back, and we only get through like 5 events. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to do all 9, and the people running the event at the time, they basically looked at the novice class as the grunt group that was going to do all the work, all the teardown. Yeah. And so we get through 5 events, and they're like, guys, you got no more time to do anything. You got to start working for us. And you don't get your awards and certificates until that is done.
It's always driven me a little nutty. It's one of the reasons I started running games. I've never understood the, hey, pay me to show up, but then also do all the things you're paying me for. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's a whole.
I mean, honestly, it wasn't like my quest to do this, but it's kind of become my mission now within my region to change the culture, to make sure that the people that find the games today don't even have a clue. I want their experience to be so different than what I had, because it sucked. Yeah, it absolutely sucks. So now I'm.
Hey, you're going to start throwing at 9:30, but if this class could get here at 7:30, because we got to piece together sheaf standards and raise them, and we got to unload stuff off the truck, and we get like.
It sucked. And so not only am I falling on the trig, making an ass of myself, but now it's like...
Now you're free labor.
Yeah. And you feel it. And you're like, wait, man, I think I'm being used.
Yeah, wait a second.
This is not a good feeling.
Seems like you guys are getting a lot out of this, and I'm not... And especially before you know how the sausage is made, which we talked about earlier, you have this perception that you just got X number of dollars from everybody here, and then you didn't do anything. And it's very easy to start feeling jaded when you don't know the meetings and all the stuff that happened to get all this to happen. You're just a guy that showed up, paid money, and then all of a sudden you're kind of put to work.
It absolutely sucked. I had a worse time this time, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, I don't ever want to do this again.
Right.
This just sucked. My buddy.
How did it feel competitive wise aside from falling over the trick? Was there anything about it that you were like, oh, that part was good, or?
I like throwing hammer. That was the one thing that just kind of clicked right away for me. I think my first time, I mean, again, and it was literally the first time I've ever touched it. I think I threw around 85-foot light hammer.
Okay, yeah, it's a pretty respectable first time. That is a respectable first-time hammer score.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are bees out there listening right now that have been doing it for years that wish they could throw an 85-foot light hammer. So
Yeah. I mean, but that was good. Throwing stones was awkward.
yeah,
It's a weird thing, especially coming from a shot put. It's just a whole different dynamic. But once you get past that hand part, it all works out.
I think I actually I got weirdly lucky in that I probably should have thrown in high school and college. Looking back and now talking, they're like, "Oh, you were built for it. You should have been doing that." And I'm like, "Well, I didn't know it existed." So the stones never felt weird. It's the only thing I've ever thrown, and so it holds up historically well at events because I never got used to tucking something really nice in and close. Everything's always been out here, and my shoulder's falling apart at 32. But other than that, it's fine.
It worked out to where the next year I didn't do it at all. My buddy didn't call me. He was like, "Okay, I got it. Sean, he's not having it with us. He's not having a good time." I'm thinking, well, I got this kilt. I don't know. Well, maybe I'll use it someday. Who knows? And I started working out at this different gym, and it was a gym called Ambition Athletics. And I get in there. We don't know a lot of people in San Diego County. I didn't grow up in San Diego. And so going to this gym, kind of trying to make some friends.
I feel like California is just a bunch of little islands of cities. I feel you'll talk to people and it's such a weird thing because it takes y'all so long to get from one city to another because there's just so many
45
people.
to 60 minutes to
Whereas
get anywhere.
I'm incredibly used to driving from one side of Virginia to the other. There's nothing in between the cities. It's all rural once you get out of that. So it's insanely easy for me. But you'll talk to these people and I look at it on a map and I'm like, how the hell do you guys not know each other? You're a couple miles apart, it feels like, and then
there are people that grew up in LA who have never been to the beach. I mean, it's wild to me. You grow up in, I don't know, Arizona, Nevada, whatever. Okay, I kind of get that. Yeah. But there are people in LA who have never been to the beach.
You have the beach.
Yeah, we have so much beach. Yes, we have all the beach. And so.
All right, so you went to this new gym. You didn't know people from around there.
Yeah, just I'm going to go there. Try and find. I mean, again, I'm working this corporate job. I'm teaching in a college. I don't have any real reason to be in any kind of shape, and I at least kind of acknowledge I need to kind of get that under control. And it just kind of turns out that most of the people in this gym, the trainers, are actually all competing in the Highland Games, and there's Holly was a lightweight. There's this, the co-founder of the gym, Mike Baltrin. He's throwing.
He was up there yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't he walking around?
Yeah, Mikey, and he's now married to Felicia. This is before. This is as him and Felicia were just kind of starting their relationship.
I always feel weird seeing people that I've found just waving awkwardly, and then
well,
I don't look like a walking meme, which is all anyone knows, and so it's
Well, that's what you get. I don't know.
Post my face more often.
It's
an
bad.
okay face. It's not great, but
own it.
Yeah, I don't have another one. So.
And there were a couple others there, and they all participated in it. And and Felicia was the one. She invited me, and she said, "Hey, you have a track and field background. Their thing that they were just not very good at was the stones, and they were like, can you come out and just kind of help us out?" And I'm like, fuck. Not this stupid ass sport again.
I can't escape it.
Seriously, I mean, it was so fringy, and I'd never heard about it for 35 years, and all of a sudden now
everyone won't shut up.
Yeah, it's stop talking about it. And so I agreed to go out there, but only because I wanted to make friends.
Yeah.
I didn't, and my view on it was I'm going to go out to practice. I'm going to help kind of do this. Maybe we'll make friends. I have no intentions of doing it myself, but as most people kind of know, and especially if you ever thrown anything. Well, that looks kind of interesting. Maybe how does this work?
Yeah.
And so I actually start getting training with, pretty solid equipment. Our equipment was, like most practice equipment, it's not up to, certain standards, but it basically looks like what it's supposed to look like. And so I do Queen Mary, which is in Southern California. That's like the first event.
It's usually a season opener for Bill. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's usually right around Valentine's Day in February. And I do pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Immediately go from C to B. They kick me out right away. I go to B. They immediately kick me out of B. By the end of my first full season, I win an A competition. By the end of my second full season, I'm number 2 Masters Worlds. And I'm like, shit, I'm actually kind of good at this.
Yeah.
I kind of like this. And so
it just doesn't feel so goofy anymore.
No. And so the takeaway to me is, it's like, when I get, younger people that get involved in the sport now, I want them to have a good experience. But so, number one, I want them to be safe.
Yeah.
How can you work? I mean, so hook grip that motherfucker. That's my. I mean, anybody who's worked with me knows. And if you don't hook grip, and y'all know who you are, and I'm thinking your names right now.
I almost lost a knee because someone didn't hook grip a few weeks ago. I mean, the 56 flew by and like grazed my kilt at knee level.
Jesus.
Like I'd have been checked out of the sport then and there, like just shot out of the trig, and
it
I was lucky.
Me insane, and I hear it all the time. My hand's too small. It hurts. No shit, it hurts. But do you want to hold on to that motherfucker or not?
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward, but you got to do it safe, and if you can get some basics and start to do it well and understand the physics behind it,
it'll start to hurt less.
You'll hurt less, and you'll start to maybe have fun.
Yeah.
And if you have fun, maybe you'll talk to a friend, and maybe one day someone will unknowingly nominate you to some board, and you'll start putting this shit on, and you can carry that torch forward.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like my origin story into all this, and where I'm at now. It's weird. I've been doing this for basically a decade, and you can go through NASGA, and I think I've probably
heavy athlete, but yeah.
You would go to heavy athlete for sure, and
I still catch myself doing it sometimes. I'm like, oh, in NASGA, no.
Well, yeah, it's we
old habits.
Yeah, since 1998,
right? I was gonna say since 1944. Whenever that year you figure, that's probably when NASGA
true.
Came around.
That is absolutely when NASGA was built. 1944 computers.
Yeah, there's a hamster on a wheel somewhere powering that server that's really fucking tired.
There's a hamster on a wheel that's just took offense to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was worse than that.
We didn't make a new database to make NASGA happy. Like, we were aware that some people may not like it. But.
Yeah, it's crazy, but there's so much cool stuff to this sport, and I mean I think one of the things, and I, so I throw. I'm the president of the SAAA. I run the SAAA Instagram page and Facebook, whatever. But
Tip Tuesday. A lot of people love that. Matt is chomping at the bit to end up on your Tip Tuesday, by the way.
I've got to get that going again.
But also good luck getting him to answer your messages, vice versa. He's, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
I think we have, when I was coming up, all we really had, well, I'll even take a step, but so before I came up, people had like, what was it, the Podkowskis, they had like an instructional video, like I think it was like a VHS video that they were selling.
The contrarian method and all that on VHS that you could,
Yes. And
I've watched it. It's great.
Yeah, it is. And that was what people had. You move forward a little bit, and then people started posting things on YouTube. For me, it was watching a lot of Matt Vincent, Dan McKim, and that was good and bad all at the same time. There was a lot of people who tried to throw weights like Matt did, and he did kind of like a hop on his entry. Yeah,
which is very hard to pull off.
It is.
If you're 320 pounds, it gets a little easier.
Yes.
But if you're a first to second year thrower who maybe isn't that big and athletic, it gets really fucking hard to do.
Incredibly.
I've been doing this for 6 years and I can't fucking hop out of my cast. That's...
Yeah. I never teach it the way I was learning it, but that's how I started, and it was weird.
Same.
But but that's what we had, and so now, I mean, we've got so many vehicles to get that information out there, and there's most of that information was passed on, to us free of charge. I want to get that out to everybody else free of charge so they can continue to, get. I mean, nothing we know today is fucking like unique. Like we didn't come up with that on our own.
No, you're just taking something someone else did and you're
Yeah.
repackaging it and looking at it a different way, which is all throwing is. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time that, like, I had this conversation with one of the guys throwing with me yesterday, and he's like, they keep saying chest up, and I can't. It doesn't. I'm like, then think of belly button up.
Yeah.
Like, just pick whatever. It's the same cue. Pick whatever works for your brain. And it's the exact same way with that. Like, you may watch the VHS from way back when, if you still have a VHS player, and
I do.
Yeah, same. But a couple of those cues may hit, and then you may hear someone else instruct the same thing, but they use the words a little differently, and you go, "Oh, for me that makes way more sense." And then it all just starts moving.
The one that's always bugged me is, and I think it just confuses the fuck out of people, is the concept of pushing the weight.
Mm-hmm.
When I think push, I think like a bench press. I'm pushing you away from me. I think a better way to kind of say that, the way it's intended, is to really have solid connection with the weight.
Yeah.
And to stay connected, because the act of pushing...
you just want to stay tense and tight and active on it. You're not actually... Yeah.
And so there's definitely language that track and field athletes will take to.
Mm-hmm. There's
language that different parts of the country will kind of start to create, and then when we all start talking together, we're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then maybe somebody just has no throwing background whatsoever, and it's just like, I think one of the bigger problems that younger throwers have is that they will mimic what they see visually but not understand the intent of what they're trying to accomplish, and so when I'm coaching somebody on that, it's like, what do you feel?
Yeah.
What are you trying to achieve by doing this? Like, well, I saw this in the video. I'm supposed to have my left arm up here. Well, why do you have your left arm up?
Yeah.
We're
working low to high in a line. It's a lot of spinning and other weird shit, but we're just trying to go low to high and that way.
Well,
everything else is a byproduct of it. Like, it's...
I think of somebody like Spencer Tyler throwing weight for distance, and first and foremost, what I love to tell people is, don't try to throw like Spencer Tyler when he's throwing weight for distance.
Yeah.
It's not that he throws it bad. It's that he is on a next level of shit. Y'all just aren't there yet. Start with the traditional approach with both your feet on the back line. Don't stagger it like Spencer does. He's doing extra rotations that you guys cannot handle yet. But there's a move that he does in the middle of after his first rotation, moving into the final turn, where he will reach his left arm over his head high, really high, and it's this brief thing. It's off to the side of the shoulder, through the middle, it's up, high as fuck. People miss this. Why does he do it? If your left elbow or your left shoulder starts to dip,
you're gonna pull left.
You will fly the fuck out the left side. What we do is you got to keep posture, and he's pulling so fucking hard on the right side, the left side's going to dip naturally. So he pulls so damn hard that the left arm has to compensate and overcompensate, to keep him on balance and make sure he is center to center left versus out the fucking side left.
6 feet over there.
And so, if someone were to watch him and try to mimic him, they would just reach for this guy for no damn reason.
Yeah.
But understand why he's doing it, and it's just that's the hard part for me. And I had a surgery on my right elbow right after 2021 Worlds, and I felt like, when I was working my way back, trying to throw on an elbow that hated everything I was doing to it, I had to start throwing with the women's lightweight. And then I had to work up to the 21. And it took me a while to get to the 28. I couldn't muscle things anymore.
Yeah.
I had to really stay connected with the weight and start to feel things. And the process, I think, at the end of the day, made me a better thrower because I was able to feel things differently. And at the end of the day, I actually do truly believe I can pretty much, I would say probably just about every event, but probably caber. I think I could do a blindfolded.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where you need to get to. You got to feel it. Damian Fisher, he did a Tip Tuesday for us. He said every practice you should have 2 goals. Have a goal that you can see and a goal that you can feel. And I think that feel part is something that gets overlooked.
Yeah.
We're always like, okay, well, can I see on video that I did this better?
And for new throwers, it's infinitely more important. Like you said, they don't wrap their head around it. So the few new throwers that Matt and I have been trying to work with, they always turn around and they go, "How'd that look?" And I'm like, I don't care how it looked. Your numbers are shit anyway. How did it feel? Did it feel better than your last one? Did you feel more on bound? Did you feel that nice little stretch at the back of the heavy so you can actually no? Then we're gonna run it again until you can feel that.
Yeah.
We'll get farther later. Yeah. That's next season's problem. Right now, let's just do it right.
It's the hardest thing, especially, most of us are strong. Most of us...
that must be cool.
Everything is measured based on how far did it go. If it went further, then it's better. That's not necessarily true. Mm-hmm. You could have did something, I don't know, sort of right in the wrongest way.
Yeah, and so Matt runs a strongman gym primarily. He's got throwers, and there's more every day, and yada yada. But it's a lot of strongmen, and so we've gotten a lot of people from that world over, and they'll come out and muscle a 23-foot heavy off of a standing throw. Some of them, just because they're insanely strong, and that's a good mark. Cool. That's not repeatable. You're not building anything technical. We need to get you moving and doing all that. And guess what? The next one's going to go 19 feet.
Yeah.
But we now have something we can start to build off of to actually get you better.
Yeah.
Sure, if you wanted to throw forever as a B and throw 23 feet, cool. But I didn't want to be a B forever. That was goofy.
B class was the weirdest class, and I've heard this from other people too. There are some people that kind of they want to be part of the sport, and it's just not something they're ever going to really excel in, and they kind of stay in C's forever. There's guys that they get to A's, they're pretty solid, they've got a couple holes in their game, but they're not going to be a pro. The B class is a weird place of kind of like the guys that are falling down, the guys that are moving up. It's I don't feel like a B class is a place to stick any length of time, but for those that do. I don't know, that's just that's a weird one. Are you a trophy hunter? What do you...
you end up with these people who they make it their entire identity. I think you find that much more in the B class. The guys that go and get 16 different Scottish and Viking tattoos, and then they braid their hair 6 different ways on game day, and those are your B class guys. They have, because they aren't C's anymore, they feel as if they've accomplished it, and their Thanksgiving dinner, this is the only shit they talk about. And their family is like, will you please shut up? Your uncle has cancer. This is not a time to talk about your sheaf. It's an odd place for sure, especially when you get lingerers.
Yeah.
C class is great. If you run a local game for wherever, that's your weekend warriors, your people that's their, every Labor Day, because I'm Scottish, I like to go have fun and do this. Sweet, cool, go. You're not practicing, you come out here just for funsies, sweet. Or it's your first time trying a game, awesome. But if you get out of that into the Bs and are very comfortable there, it's odd. And that's not to say there's probably not 1 in every 10 Bs where that just is your athletic potential. And that's also fine. I'm not going to... There are guys out here who aren't 6'4" and above, and they're, if you're 5'6" and just don't have a lot of fast twitch capability, you may top out as a B, and that's also fine. But if you're genuinely still making an effort, but
not healthy. I think we feel that too, where I'm at now. So unbeknownst to you, this is my birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday!
I know. I was driving here. I'm like, this is what I'm doing on my birthday. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
You're gonna go talk to a stranger in a hotel room.
Yep.
Good.
Come to my hotel room. Just
happy Father's Day, everyone.
Yeah. And so I'm 48 today, and
is it the first birthday you've ever spent in the cuckold chair?
Let me think
Maybe.
about that. There might have been a few.
Yeah.
We won't talk
in
about
a past
that.
life. But
No, it's an interesting place. Throwing in the Masters at a high level because once you get to that 40 year threshold, now it's like lightweights in a way. Lightweights, you could be. It has nothing to do with your ability.
Mm-hmm.
It's the scale weight. And then Masters is very similar thing. It's not about your ability. It's, are you old or are you not old?
Yeah.
And so now...
Or are you Mike Zolkowicz or are you not Mike Zolkowicz? No.
Yeah. I feel bad because you can be in a group with Mike Zolkowicz. You can be in a group with myself. In Southern California, we've got a ton of monsters that are 40 plus monsters that at any time any of us can drop down to A's and whip smash.
Yeah.
And so we're dealing with guys that just maybe they found the sport in their 40s, and had they been younger they would have been career C-class guys.
Yeah.
But they got to deal with us. And so,
which I liked him splitting an elite Masters versus another Masters yesterday, because I sat there and I talked to Tommy, Hannah's boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "I'm getting my ass kicked in." He's like, "But if I was over there, it'd be unfortunate for everyone else." There was a very large disparity, and I think you had your Masters that did find the sport at 42 plus, and then your Masters who threw in college and threw as an A and then just happened to turn over 40.
Like the stick that we were using yesterday, one guy turned it.
Yeah.
And Bill Waddell is a great caber thrower. He's genuinely an amazing caber thrower. But when you have a caber that Mike Zolkowicz isn't turning, Zachariah Whittington isn't turning, I'm not turning, Mike Baltrin isn't turning, Jack Coleman isn't turning.
It's a hefty caber. Yeah.
Yes, it was a hefty, and it was...
No taper.
Oh, it looked like a fucking pig's tail. It was like a curly Q motherfucker. It turned every which way. I have no idea, Josh, who thought that was a good idea.
You should have seen the first one we threw. I agree.
Yeah.
We had to drop down because no one turned ours in the first round. So
we had nothing to drop down to because it was like anything less we're gonna have to throw one.
The next one everyone turned, so it was that disparity of we can either do this one that no one's gonna turn. I was fine with everyone just getting no turns. I'm not hurting my feelings. But
well, but just in terms of the abilities, so I look at it from various points of view now. As an athlete, if you're in a group with really high quality, throwers and beginners, this is where it impacts you. You're going to be pissed off at the end of the day because they took a long time. Why did it take a long time? Because you started sheaf at 14, and then by the end of it, you had the Mike Zolkowitzes and me and Jack and Mike Baltrin and we're out there hitting 30 or 30 plus whatever, and so it's like some of those guys started out they got to wherever they got to, and then the other guys hadn't even come into their opening height yet, and that now has made your day longer. So I think it's a good thing. They did a lot of them up here in the Northeast, but having a pro masters group or whatever you want to call it, elite masters, we introduced that at some events last year at the SAAA, and the intent was I'd heard from throwers that they were scared to throw 40s because they didn't want to throw against a bunch of quote unquote monsters, and that I get it.
But at the same time, sorry. I don't
get better.
That's the option.
And
you're also old enough to unapologetically take TRT. I don't know. Get better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do what you got to do to get better and motivate yourself. But you know how you're going to get better? Throw with us.
Yeah. You're not going to get any better being the big fish in the little pond somewhere.
Yes.
It's not going to help.
Who are the folks that you're surrounding yourself with? And so me myself, I don't care what I've done this at Worlds. If I see a guy I can help, I will help them. Because I want everyone to have fun and do this at a high level. I also don't want to beat you if you're doing this shit wrong.
Yeah.
I want you.
There's no fun in that for me.
No.
If I watch you throw a 56 on a one turn, you're tripping over yourself. Throwing 6 feet further than you does not make that. No. I'm not stoked. I want to beat the other guy by a foot who's also throwing it well. I'm not trying to trample all over everyone else.
Well, the level of your competition kind of validates your success, and I don't want to be the tallest midget.
Yeah.
I want, yesterday, Mike Zolkowicz wins. He's a legend. He's awesome. Nobody's taking that away. But specific to yesterday, when you can walk away with the win, and the win means that you were beating guys that are multi, like myself last year.
I mean, the number of championships between you, Zachariah, Zolk, and Mike, and everyone else that's over there. Yeah.
Everybody's been to Masters Worlds. Everybody's podiumed. Everybody, multiple times, and just tons of accomplishments. When you can be at the top of that group, okay, I mean, I didn't, we didn't have this conversation, but I guarantee you, if Zolk is being honest, that's the reason he had that big fucking grin at the end of the day, because it's like, this means something.
Yeah.
But it's the dedication that we all put into this. If we keep pushing ourselves, it's going to get the most out of ourselves. It's going to get the most, out of our competitors. And when you can get those victories, they're going to be that much sweeter. So no, I don't want to, be the tallest midget. I don't want to, beat you at your worst. I want to help you.
Yeah.
And if I can still win, then I'm going to feel good about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's just sportsmanship. That's just
no. I think that's what good athletes always look at as really briefly. I used to, because in the South and Southeast, there's a dead time in the summer. It's just too hot. There aren't a lot of games, so I used to always go find 1 or 2 strongman shows to do in the middle of the year, just to have something else to keep training for and go do something different. And won a couple of them, and that was really cool. My favorite trophy is a 3rd place trophy because it was Steve Schmidt, Ryan Pizzola, and then me. I didn't make weight. I had to go to the super heavies, and one of the events was block press, and Steve set a new world record, but I was still on the podium, and I was like, this is a cooler day than all the days I won the 265 class, and way cooler, by far.
I was somebody who, just because of when I found the sport, I pretty much qualified to be in the Masters within a year and a half of finding the sport.
Yeah. And
at that time, shit has changed. But at that time, I don't know. I don't want to disrespect my competitors, but I didn't have to do much to win a Masters event.
And that's also speaking to at the time, because I think all of your classes outside of, and even to an extent, your pro and your upper A men had all been that way for a very long time because there just weren't enough people in it. Your women's classes were that way, your Masters classes were that way, just because the depth of talent didn't exist yet. Yeah. And the more people were able to get into the sport, it's self-remedying that issue, because now you're going to have more guys turning 40 that have been in it and were good throwers, and you're going to draw in more females with college throwing backgrounds or strongman backgrounds and who are high caliber athletes. And so
absolutely,
within the last 5 years or so, we've really started to progress out of that, I think.
I think we were doing a good job. COVID fucked us.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Dude, the year before COVID, we were on a climb hadn't been in forever.
2019.
I mean, everyone knew Spencer's name. He was on a tear. The games were taking off. Yes. There was money coming into the sport, and then everything just shut down.
Fucking to shit.
I think we're finally bouncing back, and so, let's see. All right, guys, that wraps up another episode of the Going Rogue podcast. We got a couple more sponsors we're going to mention. If you like what we're doing and want to support us, the best way to do that is by supporting them. So please keep listening for just another minute or two, and thank you guys for being here. The one and only Badger Highland Games supply If you are looking for any and all equipment related to the Highland Games, reach out to Greg Martz. He runs Badger Highland Game Supply. You can find him on Instagram or Facebook by searching Badger Highland Game Supply. He's got a full price list: hammers, weights, sheaf forks, sheaf bags, anything and everything you could need. He's your man. The Battlefield Highland Games is being hosted by yours truly, October 19th this year in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Registration is live on heavyathlete.com. Lunches are provided, t-shirts are provided, awards will be provided. We're going to have all classes and hopefully all 9 events, and we hope to see you there. We'd like to take a moment to talk about our other sponsor, ChemStud. ChemStud is an app to help you with chemistry. Written by a high school chemistry teacher who was tired of explaining everything over and over, ChemStud is capable of solving basically any and all general chemistry problem. ChemStud is capable of showing its work using significant figures and is receiving new updates all the time. ChemStud is available on iOS and Android for $4.99 in the App Store. Stop struggling with chemistry and become a ChemStud today.